We're about to begin Holy Week, and if you really enter into the liturgies of Holy Week, it's I don't know. You could almost say it's like some of the most scripturally rich celebrations of the liturgical year, and so much of that has to do with the fact that we enter into the Passion account twice, one on Passion Sunday, one on Good Friday. Maybe it's the heightened sense of awareness and celebration during these days, but we'll also, I guess that really is a lot of it. But as we enter into it, there's so many things to reflect on. I think I'm gonna almost just set them up and let you run with it in your own way. So, for one, as we look at the Passion account, where does it really begin? It begins at the Last Supper, and we have where Jesus is bringing together the old and the new in many ways. He's celebrating the old Passover, the same one that freed the Israelites from the slavery to the Egyptians, the same one that led to their passage to the Promised Land. And he's also beginning something new in the new Passover, what we celebrate on Sundays in the Mass, when we celebrate, anytime we celebrate the Mass, but especially, beginning with our celebration of Easter. So he's doing something new there, bringing together the old and the new, and being the new Passover lamb, the celebration continues into his sacrifice on the cross. Again, so many details we can talk about where Jesus' death parallels that of the Passover lamb, and how the sacrament of Eucharist, fulfills the experience of the Passover. But you can kind of reflect on those, and I always say to get better in touch with the story of the Exodus helps inform our understanding of the Eucharist. So, you have that experience. You have Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, where it's the Mount of Olives, but Gethsemane, kind of symbolizing, or even the word meaning, this wine press, this garden where the olives would be tread out, and a place where Jesus is being tread out, emotionally, spiritually, physically, preparing to go to his death on the cross. You have they're just entering into the trial and the carrying of the cross. Jesus fulfills the prophecies from Isaiah, where he is the suffering servant. You have him as a new Joseph as well, in preparing a way of health and life for his family. And finally, his death on the cross, and his experience on the cross, opening for us our own hearts to see God in a new way, but also, the greatness of his glory that is to come. I'm always fascinated by Psalm 22, and where it begins, my God, why have you forsaken me?" ending with, a great statement of faith and hope and expectation that the whole world would know of the great deeds that God was going to do in this servant's life. So Jesus is there on the cross and says, generations to come will speak of the deliverance that you are about to bring to me, Father in heaven. It's just a beautiful statement of trust and faith, even in the experience of feeling crushed by the world and the weight of sin in that moment. So, so much that we can say within that, but, just to set these up for your own reflection. And finally, maybe just practically speaking, we have that great Philippians hymn that we hear as well. And, we're called to imitate, the self-offering of Jesus, who, though in the form of God, didn't deem equality with God something to be grasped at, but rather emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, being born in the likeness of humanity. In the same way that God steps down into the world, we need to step down into the world of other people, really, and pour ourselves out in love, and that's kind of the symbol of our gratitude, beyond the Eucharist, our actions in our lives, kind of symbolize our gratitude for what God has done for us, coming into the world, taking his throne on the cross, and So take that with you. There's plenty to reflect on, plenty to enter into. If you can get to all the liturgies of Holy Week, just get to them, and it'll help you enter more deeply into the mystery and the experience of our celebration of Jesus' passion, death, and ultimately his resurrection from the dead.